I will talk about the sibling art centers in Stockholm. It's a network of smaller contemporary art centers in Stockholm. And the network consists of Tensta Konsthall, Konsthall C in Hökarängen, Marabouparken in Sundbyberg, and Botkyrka Konsthall. Stockholm has been described as one of Europe's most segregated cities, with a white and wealthy city center and colored and not so wealthy suburbs. And this especially pertains to the late modernist suburbs built as part of the so-called Million Program scheme, whereby between 1965 and 1974, 1 million housing units were constructed across Sweden. And the implications of working in the geographical periphery of this capital city in a country with strong centralistic traditions brought us together. And since 2012, the art centers meet regularly to exchange ideas and collectively organize events that are pertinent to our work with contemporary art and to cultural policies. We share a number of interests and concerns, for example, to have active, long-term and multifaceted relationships to the neighborhoods where we are located. And yet we're different, not least in terms of history, size and governance, as you will hear in a moment. And being here at Kulturhuset, contributing to the Creative Time Summit, I think it's important to underline that many of us have a sustained commitment to so-called social practice and art with strong links to the surrounding reality. In addition to being a really inspiring group of peers, we've done a number of things together, and I would like to share some of them with you. It's a series of public hearings entitled Who Will Fund Contemporary Art? And this was done together with Mossutställningar. It's the Stockholm School, and finally, it's the bringing together of local politicians and administrators in our respective institutions. So in 2012 and 2013, the sibling art centers arranged a series of hearings to highlight and discuss the prevailing cultural policies, as well as art institutions and artists' access to financing. They took place at ABF, the Workers' Educational Association in the city center, and politicians, policymakers, and other people with influence pertaining to the topic were invited. The series should be seen in light of that until recently, Sweden's cultural economy was based on 100% public funding. The structural changes, which started about 15 years ago, have neither been, we thought when we did this, properly debated in public, nor looked at more systematically. So the phrase of broadening financing has appeared more and more often during recent years. It refers to the rising demand for publicly financed cultural institutions to find new possibilities for their funding. The authorities that allocate public cultural funds have made it clear in various ways that they prioritize projects and institutions that succeed in finding new private sources of financing. In certain cases, public funding is awarded only on the condition of matching funds or shared financing of a private nature. In Sweden, this poses a particular challenge, as unlike a number of other European countries, there are basically no foundations focusing on support for contemporary art, and the culture of donating money to art institutions is fairly undeveloped. The second hearing, by the way, was entitled Who Should Finance Art? The Artist as Entrepreneur, and Art as Creative Industry. And the third one was The Mystery of Added Value, about art's role in city renewal. So feeling a need to better understand the actual mechanisms of systems which have undergone rapid changes, and again, which have not, we felt, been properly debated in public, it was important to start from scratch. Hence the format of the hearing, whereby we thought we could begin with some basics in relation to questions and phenomena pertaining to our work, involving different stakeholders and other people with influence over what we do and how we do it. The other thing is Stockholmsskolan, the Stockholm School, which started in the spring of 2014 as a collaboration between the organization Konstfrämjandet and the sibling art centers. It's an education initiative particularly intended for young people who are curious about how to proceed towards an education in art and design, but whose cultural capital might not allow them to do so. Stockholmsskolan meets twice a month in the evening, once at Konstfrämjandets offices in the city center, and once a month elsewhere, often at the sibling art centers themselves. And the aim is to understand the art world and path towards it for the participants, to get an opportunity to examine and formulate opinions in relation to exhibitions and other projects, and also to develop their own work, artwork. During the past year, the sibling art centers have turned inwards, both with Stockholmsskolan and with our recent meetings with local politicians, administrators. We've gathered those that we work with closely individually for meetings at each of the 4 institutions in order to stealthily educate them in terms of how we work and giving them the opportunity to feel ownership and pride in relation to the one that they are related to, but also to widen some horizons in relation to other konsthalles in the city center of, or in the suburbs rather, of Stockholm. Thank you.